All right, we're going to call the Equity and Empowerment Commission meeting into order at 6:08, January 15, 2026. Thank you guys for being here, and we do have quorum. So we're going to move down to the agenda to approval of minutes for December. Oh, okay. So I'm going to do a roll call for the Equity Empowerment Commission meeting for January 15, 2026. Roll call.
Councilmember Harris.
Present.
Chair Josephine Bostick.
Present.
Ms. Shayna Sexton.
Present.
Amari Ratcliffe.
Present.
Akila Jones.
Present.
Great. So
Chair, we have a quorum.
we do have a quorum, so we will move forward with our agenda. Approval of December 18, 2025 meetings, meeting minutes. I can get a motion for those.
I move for the approval of December 18, 2025 Equity and Empowerment Commission meeting minutes.
And may I get a second?
I can second that motion.
All right, the minutes are approved for December. Oh, all in favor of the minutes for December 18, 2025?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? And all abstained? Well, the minutes are approved for December 18th, 2025. Okay, now we are moving to public comment. Do we have public comment?
We have no one signed up.
Okay, there's no one signed up for public comment, and we want to recognize the round table in the room. Thank you guys for always being here and supporting us. We do appreciate your work. Thank you so much. So I'm going to move down the agenda. And basically, this is our first meeting, so we do have some housekeeping to do, and I wanted to just thank all the commissioners for being here and being so dedicated to this commission, considering that we have 3 vacancies, and sometimes, you know, some of the meetings we weren't able to have quorum, but you guys still showed up and did your best, and I just want to applaud you for that and thank you for being so dedicated to this board. And we are going to continue to work together as a team, and I just want to thank you guys for being here, starting the new year, and it's going to just get greater and greater. I do have great hopes for us. So don't get discouraged. So we want to move to discussion, and I want to give each commissioner opportunity to discuss anything that they may have on their mind or this. Shayna, do you have anything that you want to discuss with the commission? Okay, Councilmember Harris, Co-Chair Commissioner Jones, any discussions?
Not so much of a discussion, just more so of a recommitment to the Equity and Empowerment Commission. I know that life can get in the way sometimes, but I just want to reaffirm that I am here to do the work, knowing that we are only here once a month. And we're only here for an hour and a half for that once a month, a 90-minute time commitment. And so I just want us to try to make the best of the time that we are putting in so we can actually move the agenda forward to be responsible to the city of Evanston and the work that we have said that we will do for the wards, meaning that obviously we still need to do some recruitment, which I know that is top of our priority list in our agenda, to work with Mayor Biss to get applicants in, but more so just to make sure that we are being responsible to the citizens of Evanston.
And I champion you on that. You're so right. We did make a commitment when we filled out the application and we had the appointment by the mayor. It was a process that we went through. This wasn't something that we just went and picked up and said, well, let me see how this fits. This was a process that we all agreed to. We made a commitment to the residents of Evanston, but not just to them, but to each other. We work as a body, and if one part of the body is not functioning, then the body is not completely working as a whole. And so I like to give the pep talks to let you know I totally depend on us to work as a body, and do see all your best and your greatness in you. And I appreciate Commissioner Co-Chair Jones making that recommitment to work for the residents of Evanston. So I appreciate you saying that, and I too will champion Commissioner Co-Chair Jones to make a commitment to continue to work for the residents of Evanston, and make a commitment to my peers on this commission that I'm here and I'm always going to be here for you guys, and not just for you guys, but for the residents of Evanston. I do believe in what we're doing, and this is why I'm here. So I do make a commitment as well. Thank you, Co-Chair Jones. Commissioner Ratcliffe, do you have anything that you want to say?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so we're going to move down the agenda. I did pick something that I had printed out on your pink forms that you have. Sorry about that. I did find some framework in part of our equity and commission packet, and what I was doing was just wanting us to just reconfirm and recommit to this body. And so I picked this, and I believe I sent everyone an email about it, but I just want you guys to review it. This document is intended as a guiding framework to support participation in shared leadership, and does not create new policies or enforce requirements. Just the purpose of the Equity and Empowerment Commission is to exist to identify, address, and eradicate inequities in the city of Evanston, policy, practices, and systems. Just looking at the core expectations, and commissioners are expected to attend meetings regular, prepare in advance, participate respectively, and serve at least on one work group. So these are just some of the requirements and core values that we believe when we signed up for this commission that we were going to do and commit to, and uphold the City of Evanston standards, including ethics and the Open Meeting Act requirements, and attendance and commitment. I just wanted to put that out there, is being consistent with attendance, supports quorums, and progress. So when we don't have a quorum, we can't vote, we can't move forward, and it does dampen your spirits as well with us being here, because everybody has something else to do. Council member was eating her dinner in the back. Everybody has something to do. So when you see us here, it's because we're making a sacrifice and a commitment to be here. So I appreciate the participation and engagement for being here. And if you can't make it to a meeting, and, just text, email, and just let someone know so that we can make arrangements to still continue to move forward as a body. The work, group services, written feedback, research, and community engagement, all participation styles are valued. Everybody's different, so whatever you can bring to the table. and the work groups and shared leadership. Commissioners are encouraged to volunteer for work groups aligned with their interests. Work groups provide updates and recommendations to the full commission. And then lastly, the culture and value. The commission is committed to respect, inclusive accountability, with compassion and equity-centered dialogue. So these are just some of the frameworks that I believe in, and it's just not words on paper. It's part of my innate and who I am as a person. So I do, and not only that, as part of this body. So I just wanted to read that as part of my recommitment to the EEC. If you guys can look at it, we can talk about it. It's not a vote thing or anything like that. I just wanted to put that out there for us. Moving on, we are at Section 4A, and this was just something that I came up with as a discussion, part of the discussion, Commission Operating Model Reset and 2026 Agenda Framework. So I looked at last year and all of the stuff that I, came up out of the top of my head would, hey, let's do this, let's try this, let's do this. And we started out on a really, really good track where we had the events and all of these things going to the different ward meetings, and some things fell short, However, those things were great. We started off on a great track. Somewhere down the line, things failed. So I was thinking this year we need a reset, like Commissioner Co-Chair Jones said, definitely a reset on the body. So I was thinking about proposing different priorities for this year. And one of those priorities, was the EEC will focus on no more than 2 priorities. I still want us, like Councilmember Harris, we have these events with the seniors, things like that. We're still going to collaborate with other equity groups. I'm gonna still go to different ward meetings. I'm gonna still introduce us to get us out here visible. We're still gonna continue our survey. It's not like we're changing any of the things that we've already been doing that's working, but the thing that's not been working, and please tell me if I'm not correct, I want us to start focusing on priorities. And the priorities is, of course, is going to be a collective agreement. Say, for instance, the waste station. And not just like, okay, in a month it's over with, but taking maybe 90 to 120 days to figure this out, to work with that group, and to see what we can do to assist, because that is an inequity that's happening to our residents in Ward 2 and 5 because of where the waste station sits. Am I correct, Councilmember Harris? So I was thinking if we was to start working with that, that's something that's happening right now. That's something that is affecting our residents in Evanston. And that is something that we can use our scorecard to gauge. We can start using the scorecard on that and saying, okay, we working with this group. This is what we came up with in 120 days. This way is no pressure. It's not a fast thing, because this is not going to go away. It's been here for years, about 50 years? Or more than that. So that's something, and we can use our equity scorecard while we're working with this other group on the waste transfer station. So that was just a suggestion. Another suggestion would be housing. I did pull. It's a few things in Evanston that is pressing with inequities. Housing could be one of them, but I'm only proposing let's work on just 2 things. Split it up, and we can talk about how we can divide the work up, but just 2 things, and then we can report back to each other and use that equity scorecard to gauge, and then that's something we can present to council as far as what we worked on and all the numbers that we came up with. So those were some priorities, just 2 priorities that these were just some other suggestions that is challenging in Evanston. And I'm just going to pass this down. Thank you. So those were two of the priorities just two priorities. And then the Commissioner Reset, coming up with, and Commissioner Co-Chair Jones can help me with this, but coming up with some foundation, coming up with a packet for our new members, not just coming on and saying, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what we're working on, but looking at some of the expectations, the attendance, what we are working on, and then giving them the opportunity to team or buddy with somebody new, somebody older, and then we can help to guide them to, hey, we're working on this, so you can work with me on this, and this is what we're doing and creating a packet. And I'll be happy to do that and share it so that we can vote on it. But that's something walking in the door, and I think Councilmember Harris was, when we first came, because you came on, and when I came on, I didn't have anything. I just was, but giving them a packet and showing them, and then looking for that talent that we are working on. This is what we need for the new commissioners to come on board. We don't just, you may have the heart for it, but we need a little bit more, we need some other stuff. So those were some of the things that, as far as our reset is concerned, that I was looking at. Coming up with that, Commissioner Reset and accountability and the vacancies. I think the vacancies is something that we can use as, it's not as a deficit, but as an asset in a way, because we need to get our body together. Because if mom ain't right, ain't nobody right, basically, so we got to get ourselves as a commission rededicated to this body. And then I think once the newcomers come, then we can be better to guide them. And this is my opinion. Anyone has anything to say about what I just said?
Yep.
I was just going to say, I think that, I know under the purpose, you mentioned having a timeline of what we're looking at, and I think that's a good idea because I think it brings a little more focus to the work that needs to be done to get to that point.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris.
Sorry, I was just taking notes because I'll forget in 3.5 minutes. Yeah, I think some of these things are already happening, the waste transfer station discussion. So that would be working with the environmental justice group that's out there. I think we need to look at the totality of what is happening in Evanston. And I'm trying to find my words. Figure out, for me, I always want to work on something that we can do something. Waste transfer station is going to be a process, and we can be a cog in that process of making that happen. But we're having we are also having issues with our residents being safe and food insecurity. Those are some things that are, how do we figure that out? Where's the help? How do we get people to help? How do we get the word out for people to get help? So those are just, I have a million thoughts, but like you said, I think we need to narrow it down to 2. I don't know what other people think are their top 2 on this list that you've given us, or I don't know if we can go outside that list. So just trying to figure that out. But as I mentioned the last meeting, we have to do a reset. Everybody has to figure out what their commitment is, and there's no judgment in that. You start something, you may not be able to finish. You may not have, you may have thought it was something different than it was, and then you got there like, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was, or what I wanted to do, or my life has changed, my priorities have changed. because the work really happens in those 30 days in between our meetings. We sit here, we talk about it, but then that's kind of, we break from the huddle and should be working on those things. Not, we come here to do the work. This is where we get our assignments, and then we get in the community and do the work. So that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're right. The work is when we leave the room, and prior to coming back to the room, we should have the work already being done. Or if something changes, be honest and just say, hey, you know, I can't do this. Can you take over? Or can we table this? Or can we, you know, because it's plenty work to be done. And as far as the suggestions are concerned, this was just something I asked ChatGPT. It was like, hey, what's the worst things going on? But, you know, but yeah, it's open to whatever, you know, I think something that Council Member Harris said, something that is pressing, something that's going, but it's a process, but we need to work on these processes. It's not something we can, because we can't fix it, but we can be a cog in the wheel, like you said, and champion that and work with the environmental groups to be able to see what we can do to assist the residents of Evanston, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And as far as what else, one other thing that's happening, we know food insecurities is happening. We know housing. When I went to become a deputy registrar, did some training last week, one of the residents that had been here forever, and I was just my first time meeting her, said that she had to move out of Evanston because she couldn't afford to live here. So that's why I said housing, because we can work with the different housing. But you know, we do have safety that's going on. It's a lot of break-ins because people are losing their jobs and people are robbing people. And how do we keep our residents safe? Do we start putting those little lights like Northwestern have on their campus, you know, somewhere between corners? I don't know, but it's just something for us to think about. Two priorities. This way, none of us is overwhelmed. It's something we can do. We're giving ourselves 90 to 120 days before we bring it to the council using our equity scorecard while we work on these priorities. And that's something for us to focus and do and then make a difference, and we can see it happening outside of our meetings and, you know, our events and not partnering, but collaborating with these other inequity groups. To me, that's something that I can see is doable, but I wanted to bring it to the table instead of saying, we're going to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. We really need to make a difference and move the needle on this commission and make help assist the residents of Evanston, because they need our help. And this is why we're here. So, yeah, thank you so much for that. Co-Chair, Commissioner Co-Chair Jones, you have anything to say about anything? You good, Commissioner Sexton? Amari, Commissioner Amari, you okay? You got anything to say?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. I know that you do work with teenagers or something, right? Has it been anything during your work in Evanston that you've seen that could be a priority that could maybe be a part of this list, something that we can all discuss?
The teenagers that I work with are mostly in like ETHS, and one of the biggest topics that I come across is the safety in their school, and how the interactions are. And I think that is something that we could talk about. I don't know how far we can go with the school district, but it's always something that can be discussed and always a way that we can help out. So I'm for it.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by the safety and then their interactions? That this is very, very broad. So if you could narrow that down, you don't have to talk about one person specific, but if you can talk about like a general scenario, that would give me a little bit more contextual, you know, something to contextualize, because right now I'm like, what? I was confused.
I'm trying to find a way to say it without sounding so harsh, but the safety pretty much disrespect the students. They don't treat them like human beings. They treat them like little kids that walk around like they're their little kids, and those are about to be those are young adults. They are growing, they are finding their way, they're about to be out of high school. You can't treat anybody any sort of way just because you have some type of authority over them.
That makes more sense. Thank you. So you're speaking of specifically the security officers?
Yes.
So, yes, so essentially you're speaking of the security officers and their interactions with the students at ETHS.
Yes.
And how the students feel disrespected.
And unsafe.
And unsafe around those individual people who
Yes.
who are supposed to be there to protect them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have they reported that?
There's been some reports, but without going too far into it, yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I know that you always have something to say. I just need a little bit of prying. And thank you so much. And that's something that we can talk about as well. Thank you. So based off one of those priorities, say for instance, I wanted to just give a quick example and then we'll move down the agenda, affordable housing and housing equity, if we was to choose that, plus the waste station, of course. And so what we would do is analyze access to the city's housing. I'm using housing as an example. Housing programs using the equity scorecard. The scorecard should answer who benefits, who is burdened, who is mitigation required, and then what measurable outcomes are expected. This way, we review the planned developments for the equity impact. We consult equity groups. We draft policy recommendations 60 to 90 days. And that's where on your agenda where it says overview of the commissioner's compact, whereas that's the more time frame right there, 60 to 90 days or 120 days, and present to the EEC. We'll present it to us first once we come up with those answers for which two priorities we're working on. We'll present it to us, and then we assess if we can move this to the city council. So this would be the work. We would all present it to each other, and then we would see if that's enough information that we can move it to the city council using that equity scorecard, since they haven't seen it anyway. I think we need to do that. And then moving to define roles and deliverable. So what this would do would be to shift the framing from an evaluation framework to a decision-making requirement. And then we're going to move on to defined roles and deliverables, volunteers, and assigned meeting. I did my agenda different. But another example would be, okay, so how do we do this? How do we create volunteers for these two priorities? An example would be like the chair whoever the chair is could do the vision, council interface, and accountability. Say the co-chair or lead commissioner would track deliverables and timelines, and then any issues, the leads can be the other two people that's doing the footwork, doing the research, doing that. And this way, it's a shared accountability for these two priorities, even though we have six, but we have six strong commissioners here. So, and then once we get the other ones, we can group them with one of the groups like that, but we will work in twos. And so that was just an example of how these two priorities are going to be taken care of. This way we can have the clear timelines and decision points. Once we approve these two top priorities areas to focus on for recommendations to the city, like I said, the 60 to 120 days using the equity scorecard, and it makes us transparent, and it helps to progress our tracking. So we're going to move down to, I have some more stuff, but I'm going to leave that. Table that that's just on my agenda. You guys don't see it. I want to move to. Well, yeah, just my agenda, yeah. That's what I was doing, the example, so just on my agenda. Y'all didn't need to see all that.
That was your thought.
Yes, the EC Transparency Dashboard. Okay, so one of the things about us as a commission, I just want to say this, is that we need more transparency as far as our commitment. So being transparent, so we wanted, I thought of, and I think that we do have this, and Councilmember Harris can correct me, as far as a dashboard or things that we do, even if it's internal, once we start these 2 priorities, we can keep, every 30 days, we can have some transparency on, okay, this was done, this was done, this was done. And that way we can see what else we need. Do you need some assistance? Or, if you haven't done it, then what's going on? And then that way we can hold each other accountable for the work that needs to be done outside of this room. So just having an internal dashboard to see our progress and tracks our progress. And it just is more transparency. Is not being punitive, but it's being transparent. So that's was one of the other things I thought about us doing. So these are just all thoughts for our reset. And this is why I'm bringing all of these things up, because I really want us to get back on track to the residents of Evanston. So let's move down to B. So it's on the back page, B. So we talked about using the equity scorecard. So B is update on the equity scorecard and survey. And I don't believe Ms. Sanchez has that update, correct? So we did talk about last meeting that Tashik said it was like 5 or so people that responded. So it was still some people that responded. I did go look on the website, and it's right there. If they go into equity empowerment, it's a action button. You just click it. You answer those quick questions, and that's it. And then I did get 4 yeses, I think in November last year, from the different wards. I think Ward 7, Ward 6, Ward 9, and Ward 2, and I think maybe 5 yeses that I could come to, or we can come to those ward meetings and present the equity scorecard and what we're doing. So we do have those lights to go. So maybe in March or April we can start, because this meeting is basically a reset. As Commissioner Chair Jones suggested, we need a reset. So that's why I'm doing all this talking, because I'm coming up with ideas, and please feel free to jump in.
So should we choose to, and I mean, hopefully that we will go to the ward meetings, I think if you are trying to get feedback on the scorecard, or if we are trying to have people fill out this survey, we need to be able to have some type of mobile devices, whether it is a tablet. I don't know whether or not the responses or the app that we are using will work on a phone or something like that. But if we could have, at minimum, 2 devices that we could actually have at the meeting, so then that way people are able to come up, not only talk to us, but they can fill it out in the moment, and we don't have to worry about trying to send something to somebody and not knowing if we're going to get a response or get it back. So being able to have spaces available, some type of setup that is like that mobile setup that allow for us to be able to do it, whether even if it's a QR code that we put up on the screen, and then if they have their cell phone devices, they can pull it up on their phone, and then that way we can submit it in real time. So that's giving us more of the, that outcome that we're looking for, or the information gathering that we're seeking, that we're not getting just by sending between, driving people to a website. If we have it available in a sense that they can just pull it up on their phone, because we know most people, not everybody, but most people do have a phone that they can just basically, we can pull up the code and fill it out there. Maybe even have a few hard copies available for those who don't have phones or it's hard for them to see things on their phone, just making it more accessible for a lot of different people. So, ideas.
Yeah, it's accessible by the phone. I just got on. So at the council meeting, if we did a QR code, at the ward meetings, if we did a QR code, then people could scan it. There was the opportunity to be entered into the raffle for the $30. So there's the initiative. Trying to find the statement. Yeah. At the end of the survey, enter your email address to be entered into a raffle for a $30 Valley gift card. So there's an incentive, so we just need to get the QR code. And I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can answer sheet.
I think those are some great ideas, Commissioner Co-Chair Jones. I didn't think of none of that, so that is great. And so when Tashi comes back on the 21st, we can start working with her on getting those hard copies. I like that fact too. And then because the council members won't be able to keep the QR code on the screen, it may flash or something, but if we have those hard copies plus a tablet. And also I am meeting with Luke Stoll on the 23rd this month, and I will ask him about getting a couple tablets. If we can borrow some. I know I work for Morton College, and they give all the students, I'm not a student, but they give all the students tablets, and he may have some, or I got a couple tablets that I can bring and let them just sign up for them that way as well. So that's something that we can definitely do. But I will ask about getting those tablets, so when we are in the community, we can just even go check them out and bring them back if that's something. I don't know if the city does that, but it is a possibility.
Does the library perhaps do that? I don't know. Does the library lend out tablets? Like, can you check out a tablet there?
I think you can. Once upon a time you could. Again, I think people have phones. I don't know that the city. College is different. You purchase the computers in bundles, and the software, right? So I don't know that the city has the capability to do that on a wide scale range. I wouldn't even want a city computer. I'd want people, if they don't have a device in which they could do the QR code, then we should have the paper, because that's really the only alternative to, if they don't have a device, they need a paper. Administratively to be able to do it. So I think that's really the only way to do it. I know second, fourth, and fifth wards are having a joint meeting February 3rd. So if we have the QR code available and paper copies, I will take those. We have 3 wards that will be together, so. Second ward, fourth ward, and fifth ward. Yes.
That's perfect. And then just bringing some hard copies of the survey.
If you're not part of that ward and you don't want to come, if you just get it to me, I'll make sure.
Okay, definitely. Those are some great ideas. Commissioner Radcliffe, do you have any ideas about the survey?
No ideas, not at all. Sorry. I like everybody else's ideas, though. I do think physical copies and going up QR codes into the ward meetings is a really good idea.
That's perfect, yeah. Okay, so great. So the next steps and timeline we do have as far as updates on our equity scorecard. These are some great ideas that we can get it out there, because everybody's not going to go to the website. Most people haven't heard of the Equity and Empowerment Commission, so they ain't going to go to the website. I mean, what is this? So having that paper copy, having that QR code is great. And then going to these events, these community events, and having those pieces with us. Each commissioner can have some extra copies with them. So if you are at an event and they're, because we said that we were going to do it less 8 or 8. We said the age would be, remember we said
Yeah, and we said something about, I can't remember, it was 12, 10, 12, something, I can't remember.
What?
12 and up or something for the equity
Oh, hold on, I
scorecard.
just had it up and closed it.
So we can even, like if you had some and you were, at a function at your school or something, they were doing an event, this is something you can promote and see how your students would want to fill out one of these as well to see, because they're having some issues with safety, so that's a concern as well. And seeing, can we use this equity scorecard for safety? And I know we can. So that's something for each commissioner to think about, to just have some on hand to be able to pass out it when there's an opportunity.
So, I have to put on my council hat. If there's a problem at ETHS, we need to talk to ETHS, and that's not equity per se. That's a public safety. That's a concern about personnel more than for us. If you want to talk offline, ETHS is in my ward, and I can call the superintendent. We can have those discussions. I just need more details on what's happening to do that. I don't know. We got to stay in our lane, right? And that's not in our lane. But to bring it up, we can move a different way, but that's not this committee's lane. It may not even be my lane, but we can bring it to the attention of the superintendent to say, hey, this is what we're hearing, right? So immigration, the waste transfer, those are things that are closer to our lane where we can potentially affect law, where we can go to councils and say, hey, we have this proclamation, we have this whatever, and we want you all to think about this, fix this, do this. That one is not one of those things. So I just want us to be careful. And that's not saying that it isn't a valid concern. It's saying we got to get it to the bucket that it needs to be in.
Thank you for that clarity. I appreciate it, and that's why we depend on your leadership so much. Councilmember Harris, thank you so much for that. So Commissioner Ratcliffe, you can, talk to
Of
Councilmember
course, yeah.
Harris
I
about
definitely
that.
always know it's gonna be some red tape because the district is something else. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we could talk about off on another time. Oh, for sure.
Thank you so much for that. So we are at Section C, Recruitment for Equity and Empowerment Commission. Overview, I'm just going to read these bullets real quick, and then I have a little statement. Overview of current, are we at the right one? Yeah. Oh, okay. Overview of current commission vacancies, discussion of recruitment priorities and desired skills and experience, and the next steps in the appointment process. So those were some things that I had briefly discussed earlier about having the skills and experience, not just your heart, oh, I want to help, but okay, we still need some skills and some experience to not to make it hard either to be a part of this commission. So on my paper it says we have the 3 vacancies and low engagement. Ms. Sanchez did say that she spoke with Clerk Mendoza, and she is it's 3, I guess, applicants new.
So that's my question.
Yes, I believe.
Good evening, members. I did speak to Clerk Mendoza. There was, I'm trying to pull it up, someone that applied most recently, I believe in October. There was a total of 3 people that applied in 2025. I will be providing the chair with those applicants if you would like to reach out to them, but I believe one of them was the most recent one, and the other 2 were, I believe, in April of this year. But for 2025, there were 3 applications submitted.
2 in April and 1 in
Don't quote me on the months. I'm trying to pull up the exact dates, but it's just last year, 2025.
Well, that's great because what I was sent was 22 and 23. And even though I did reach out to 3 of those people that had applied, they never reached back out, but that was 22, 23. So that they didn't moved on. But I still was hoping. So having these, and each one of us remember Mir, I forgot her other name, but, and then I did have a talk with her, and she's still interested. So that would be a person that we will reach back out to because she has a lot of expertise, and that would be someone that would definitely benefit the commission. And then the other 2, we can, discuss. One good thing that I did, speak with Mayor Biss about was that he did agree to allow me to vet some of these people and give recommendations. So that's a good thing that we not just waiting on see what he do, that we can kind of move the needle. So so that's a good thing. So we will reach out, and of course I will definitely, hopefully should have more information by our next meeting about who Mayor Bitts may appoint in that way, so that's good. So having those 3 vacancies, and then we do have some engagement. So even though it's low engagement, we are intentionally rebuilding the commission around focus, accountability, and equity work. I want to be very clear. I do not view these vacancies as a setback. I view them as an opportunity that gives us space to intentionally rebuild the commission around clarity of purpose, shared expectations, and meaningful engagement. As we move forward, we will be recruiting commissioners who are prepared to participate in focused, solution-oriented work and who understands the commitment that comes with this role. So that's very important for us to have a packet ready. And maybe I can get a packet ready and then put it up for a vote by next meeting. But plus other ideas, I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. The people,
I don't think we get.
not the, no, not the people, just the packet that we'll give them. Because we got a packet from the city, and I still have my packet right here. But, but I didn't know what to do with that. It was a lot of information, but it didn't tell me what to do. But thanks to you guys, I'm learning. So praise the Lord for that. That's where we are with our vacancy. So that's good news that we'll be getting our opportunity, hopefully, to meet our 3 new members. Where are we at? D, equity issues in the community. This is something that I believe that we should have on a running agenda, continue to have it on every agenda because everybody sees things different and we all live in different wards, I believe. So I will start with Commissioner Saxton about any equities in your community.
I'm not aware of anything specific. I was going to mention that I know the waste station is mentioned as a possible focus, and a couple of years ago, the Roundtable did a really in-depth article about how the history and how that ended up there. Because I know when I moved to Evanston, I thought it was unusual that there was a waste station there. So, anybody who doesn't know the history of how that ended up there, and I think it was back in the 80s, that would be a good resource to look at.
Thank you. That's it? Anything else?
No.
Okay. Councilmember Harris?
Thank you, Chair. So as we know the ongoing federal compromise with immigration is still plaguing not only Evanston, but unfortunately the world, right? We're trying to invade everybody and not take care of ourselves. So that is always front of mind. Housing, just making sure that we are, and we're working on housing for all. So there are some things happening right now in our communities. Waste transfer station, that's going to be an ongoing. And I think bracing and preparing ourselves for the health challenges that we are about to see residents face, even wealthy people, with these changes in our insurance and who's covered, what's covered, why. Being able to be prepared for that and our unhomed citizens. I could spend 2 days talking about all the inequities being black and brown in America has created. So we could just throw anything on the wall and all of us gonna stick.
Unfortunately, but true. But we, as a body, is going to do best we can with the top 2 priorities. Because, oh my God.
What's a priority to me today? Because our federal needle moves so much. In a few hours, that's old news. I got to work on this new thing, right? So, which is part of the plan. You create chaos. You can't focus. You can't stabilize and centralize yourself and complete a task. So I'm glad to hear we're going to pick 2. I think by the next meeting we need to really all decide, and that could be happening in the 30 days in between, what those 2 are, with not just me saying, okay, we're going to do immigration and the waste transfer station, but whatever recommendations, I think we all need to be responsible, even if it's in a skeletal form, of what is that? What are we going to do? What is that? How? It doesn't have to be right, but just in my mind, this is the steps I think we need to do. Here's, so we need to maybe, before we leave here tonight, throw them all in the pile and say, of all of these, pick 2, because we could all have 10 different things come to the table and we still don't have anything, because you picked your 2, I picked my 2, she picked her 2. So I think before we leave here this evening, we should whittle, down to 5 or so things that we should pick from. That's a suggestion for the chair.
That's an excellent suggestion, because it is. That's why I just did this makeshift suggestion sheet, because it's like, I don't know. I asked ChatGPT, hey, what's going on in Evanston that's really pressing? And I don't even think they had the waste station on here, because there's some things we're only going to hear about in our community, right? Is everything, plus we have to have lived experiences. And so this ChatGPT doesn't have that for us. But I'm just saying, so yes, I think we should narrow it down. Thank you so much, Councilmember Harris, for that. And just champion on what you said about when we come back to the table, not just come back to the table saying, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, that sounds nice. But why does it sound nice? Did you do any research? Did you look up anything on these 5 things for you to be able to choose, and why? I think we need to start doing the work when we're not in the room. And so when we do come back to the table, we can say, well, I picked housing because, I have 5 people that I met and they had to move out of Evanston. And this is the average rent, or this is this, at least, like Councilmember Harris said, it can be skeletal, but at least come up with an idea. Don't just go along, because we are not here to go along to get along. We are here to make a difference in our community and stand in the gap for the residents of Evanston. It's a reason why this commission was created, and so I would like to, for us to all start functioning as a whole body and making a difference where they say, hey, at least we can go to this body and they'll hear us. And all these seats are going to be full pretty soon. And it's not because we want it to be full, but because we want to hear from our residents. So yeah, I think that we should do that as well, pick those four or five top priorities. Thank you so much for that. Co-chair Commissioner Jones.
I think the biggest one for me is not even, I don't have to, if I needed to focus on what it truthfully would be, the housing and the cost of rents, of whether it's affordable or anything like that. I just think that at this point in time, I understand that realty companies, rental property or rental companies, they are there to make they have to make their money. However, we also need to look at the crisis that we're in when it comes to the fact that jobs are unstable and people are losing money. And I'm not going to speak to anybody's, savings or anything to that effect. And if they do have that, as they say, you're supposed to have 6 months of money set aside to be able to sustain your lifestyle that you had if you were to lose your job or anything like that. But we all know that that is not a reality with the way that things are consistently rising in costs in the United States. And so I really wish there was a way that realty companies or rental property companies would potentially put a pause on raising rents over, each year it goes up by like 1 to 2%, just depending on where you live. And so therefore it does become unattainable or unaffordable, which is the reason why people are moving out of Evanston. And then it also makes it very unattainable for people to move in Evanston, knowing that this is the baseline for your rent. And that is something that's already might be out of their price range. So that is probably one of the biggest things that I do think about, because of the fact that rents are going up. Some people are not getting cost of living increases. Price of food is going up. Gas is going up. Hopefully if you have a car payment, your payment is staying the same, but everything else that goes along with that is increasing around you. So just really looking at the fact of how can we be human or have humanity towards people to look at what needs to happen, what people need to be able to keep a roof over their heads. So
I totally agree with that. I was looking at how much I could get from my house if I sold it, but then I thought, well, where am I going to move? So I'm like, what? I wish I could just get a camper and just go sit somewhere, but then I got to pay taxes on that and do this too. So it's almost like you're stuck. So yes, I think that is great. And we were talking about any issues that you may have seen in the community as well. Anything to say on that, Co-Chair Jones?
no, I think that is the issue. I think that's the issue that everybody is facing, is pretty much the fact that they are not sure month to month, day to day, if they are going to be able to continue to stay in the place that they're in. And like you said, where are they going to go to next? So it is, moving from Edmondson to Skokie or to Andersonville or to the city of Chicago, we're still facing the same crisis. So it doesn't matter. You're just moving from one place. Maybe the rent might be a little bit cheaper, but you might be living in a smaller space. It might be very crowded, away from your job, away from school, whatever it is, away from the community that you grew up in order for you to be able to pseudo afford a lifestyle that's going to allow for you to live day to day.
That's true. You're right. And that is a priority, and that is real, because I said I had met one lady, but now I'm thinking about another person that told me they moved to Skokie because it was cheaper. I said, Skokie's cheaper than Evanston? And they said, yeah. I said, oh my goodness. So I've met two people in the last week that just told me this. And I think they were renters as well. So, and then you don't even mention housing, because houses or property, because your taxes go up, your mortgage goes up, your insurance goes up. And I got a letter from my insurance company, my mortgage company saying, oh, your mortgage is going up because your home insurance, well, my property taxes went up, plus my home insurance went up too. So I'm like, okay, so now how much am I going to be paying? You know, I got to go make some money. So anyway, true that. And last, Commissioner Ratcliffe.
I was gonna say the same as Commissioner Co-Chair Jones, that housing is the biggest priority I can see. I'm as well live in Skokie because Evanston, for me to be born and raised here and I can't even live here is diabolical to me. But I just have to make my way. I mean, I still do my work. I love my community. I still support it in every way I can. I just can't live here. So, I mean, I think it's something that definitely needs to be a bigger discussion. I am personally going to the housing committee meeting next week to talk about the struggles of being a long-time Evanston resident, and I can't live here, and the struggles that I faced from that. So just trying to help out, and I feel like that can be a discussion that we kind of push forward. So I do like that it's on one of our on our priority list for discussion. I think that's something that I definitely be one of, like, out of my two picks. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And just like you said, having the emotions going along with this displacement is something that, you know, a lot of people don't think about, the emotional part of being displaced from your community. So thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. Moving me, I already said my little in-between stuff. So housing, taxes, everything. So, and, you know, ICE, everything, the waste station, the health challenges that Council Member Harris said, all those things is just so much. It's overwhelming just to even have this conversation right now. You probably see me starting to sweat because it's a lot. But moving on, so those were the things that the identifications of the issues for potential future considerations, so that we can look at the housing and the health challenges and waste station, ICE. So now we're at section 5, communication considerations, updates from chairs. So I've been updating you guys throughout the meeting with the vacancies, the meetings that I'm going to have. Ms. Sanchez updated you on the applicants for the vacancy for the EEC. We talked about how to get the surveys out there through the ward meetings, which is great. So now we're coming to section 6. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No.
So I just wanted to mention, when we're talking about equity and things of that nature, Monday, which is recognized as Martin Luther King birthday, there's the Walk for Warmth, which is happening, I don't know, the First United Methodist, I couldn't think of the name of the church, and that's at 11 a.m. is the walk-off. So if you get there at 10:30, you know, they talk to you and explain what the walk is about. But that happens Monday the 19th at the First United Methodist, which is on Church and Sherman, 516 Church. And basically what it is people are walking. Homelessness is an issue, and it's through the Interfaith organization, and it's just showing solidarity. It's a service project. So I just want to say that as we're talking about unhoused people, that there is this movement that happens annually on King's birthday where a lot of people come out, a lot of the religious organizations participate. So that's happening next Monday, or this upcoming Monday, really. And then I was looking, it isn't quite on the calendar yet, but our meeting, the council meeting for the 2nd, 4th, and 5th Ward is happening February 3rd. And they told us today, I want to say it's at ETHS. How about I check my email? It's at 6 o'clock. if you move on and we can circle back to it, I can give you the specifics. I thought it'd be on the calendar, but I do have the information. I just have to find it in my email. Sorry.
Okay, so Section 6, never mind.
Sorry, I'm goofy. I found it. So it's at 6 o'clock at the Robert Crown, because we were contemplating ETHS and Robert Crown. So it will be at Robert Crown. And there'll be a number of things talked about there. The most pressing is the, something's bothering my eye, I'm sorry. The most pressing is the bike update, but we will have the ward meeting where we can provide that other information if it's ready by then. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for those updates. Definitely, I know I cut myself off on King's Day, but I do got a dentist appointment because my tooth is hurting. But I definitely will be there for the walk.
Dress warm, we walk, regardless of the weather.
Thank you. All right, so moving on down the agenda, Section 6, vote on a new chair. We do this once a year. This is part of our framework. So we can do that now, or since this is sort of like a reset, it's up to you, but I definitely wanted to put it on the agenda because I believe October I was voted in sort of in the 24, and then we wanted to do it again in January so people can maybe get to know me a little bit. And so I don't really know how all of that goes, but so I'm going to refer to my
I
council
nominate
member.
you to stay chair. Is there a second?
I second.
Well, y'all don't see these tears inside of me crying. It's just because I was like, I hope they nominate somebody else. So maybe I should say that.
Well, and I say that because it's you have a framework right now, and the momentum, somebody new would have to come in. I don't know if anybody else is interested. I most definitely am not. Huh? You
I just
interested
want
down there?
I want to be fair and give everybody
Well,
a chance to
okay.
step up.
Is anybody interested? Since the chair has been nominated, are there any other people wanting to step up to the table? Okay, I don't hear anybody, so
Okay.
I think we can think about it, but I am nominating you. I don't think today should be the day that we vote on that anyway, a nomination. So next week, no, we're not coming back next week. Next month, when we're working on what we're going to work on, we can have a discussion if anybody else at that time wants to step up to the plate and be chair and co-chair, then, yep, you'll be able to nominate or tell somebody to nominate you next meeting. Is that fair?
Okay, that
We in
sounds
agreement?
good to me. So everybody can have the opportunity. I want to be fair too, have the opportunity to
I
think
don't
about
think
if they
anybody's
want.
running to that opportunity.
That part. Well, I just want to be fair. Well, thank you so much, and we will move this to next month so all the commissioners can think about. They want to take their chance for a year, and then everybody can just do it for 1 year and then just rotate it. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so the tracker. Review of the active tracker. Let's see where we are on time. I forgot the last place we stopped at. I don't remember it either.
We didn't do it in October.
We didn't do it in December.
And then we tabled it to January, but we,
Um,
last time we looked
I
at it was November.
think we may table it again so we can see where we stopped off at. So we're going to table the tracker. That way we'll be totally on track, and we won't have so much of this stuff in our agenda next month. I just thought we should have a good reset and new priorities for this year. So next month we'll start back where we stopped.
No, it's not. But before we actually do that, in the tracker, Do we need to, I just want us to make sure that there's nothing that's in the tractor that has a date assigned to it that needed to be reviewed by a certain date. So if there's something that needs to be reviewed before we come back for our next meeting in February, we need to actually pause for a second to see whether or not there's some deadlines that we might be missing.
Okay.
That's good. So we can review the tracker, and then we can just pick which, if anything, has a pressing date, deadline, then we can address those and then table the other ones. If they, most of them, sometimes has already been passed or addressed, so we can look at the tracker now if we have the opportunity to pull it up.
Oh, thank you. Um, I mean, submitted has been amending the code to prohibit smoking in public parks. That's something that is there, but these are items that you will be also seeing. They're new. I'm just kind of listing some of the newer items that are being put forth for consideration. They're looking into scooter regulations. That's something that's been put in place.
And the smoking is for any park that has kids' equipment in it, any park equipment, any of those things.
And it's something also that apparently the Parks and Rec Board has already voted on, so it's just codifying it through ordinance. Consideration of having dogs off leash. So, as I'm looking through this, I'm trying to think anything that would require, there is a referral on TIFs.
Yeah.
But it's not like there's no time constraints or anything like that. So as I'm looking through this, there's nothing that I would say that you should take into consideration right now because there's a pressing matter. So. No worries. Sorry for the delay in pulling it up.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Ms. Sanchez.
Deputy City Manager.
Okay, Deputy City Manager Sanchez, thank you so much. I just haven't been using your title, and I apologize for that.
Just coming from my name.
Okay. That being said, thank you so much, and thank you for bringing that up, Co-Chair Jones, about just reviewing it. That makes sense. I appreciate that. So that's the status. Is nothing pressing. And so I will ask if anyone has anything to say before we adjourn. Okay.
Motion.
Okay, so, yes, thank you.
I move for the adjournment of the January 15th Equity and Empowerment Commission meeting.
And
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Jones.
Okay, so all in favor to adjourn at 7:21?
Aye.
I don't want to say opposed. All right, well, the meeting is adjourned at 7:21. Thank you guys for being here.